Buongiorno! Today my plan was to take you to this very little church, which is a jewel in Rome. I came here, but it was closed. But by chance, I met the priest of the church and I asked him, and you know what? He opened the church just for me and he turned the lights just for me. Welcome to Santa Bibiana. This tiny little church of Santa Bibiana was built in the 4th century, so it's such an ancient church. But most of the things you see today are due to the restoration that was made during Baroque times, so in the 1600s. At the beginning of the 1600s, the Pope wanted to restore the church. The Pope at the time was Urban VIII, the Barberini Pope. And guess to who he commissioned the restoration? To Gian Lorenzo Bernini, and this was the first architectural project of Bernini. Not bad, isn't it? But Bernini actually didn't change the church so much. He kept the same structure as the original one. But what he did the most was the facade, and I'm going to show you later, and this beautiful statue of Santa Bibiana. Usually behind the altar you have a painting. This is one of the few churches that has a statue instead of a painting. So in the altar we have Santa Bibiana, the statue, and Bernini depicts her with the palm of martyrdom because she was martyrized. She's holding on a column where she was tied when she was flagellated, and then she has in her feet this plant. This is called the herb of Saint Bibiana. You have to know that during the Middle Ages, the cult of Bibiana was so popular among the pilgrims that they even believed that the grass growing around the church was her grass, the herb of Saint Bibiana, and they believed that they had a special power of healing and other things. Anyway, here Bernini once again depicts not just a portrait of a saint, he depicts an action. Something is happening and he catches that very moment. Bibiana, she accepted the martyrdom and she's in an ecstatic state. She has the palm of martyrdom and she's ready to face what she has to face. Then if you look below her statue, you find this. This is an ancient Roman bath that belonged to Bibiana's house. Yes, because Bibiana was part of a rich family in ancient Rome in the 4th century, and this was part of her house. It was a bath of a rich house, and apparently this is where they have found the body of Bibiana years later. But that is not the only relic that you find in this beautiful church. There is also on the other side this. This is the very column where Bibiana was flagellated. So this bronze protection was made by Bernini in the 1600s, and this tells us something about how popular this saint was, Santa Bibiana was, because pilgrims used to touch a lot of relics related to the saint. But what's the story of Bibiana? Bibiana was the daughter of Flaviano, which was a prefect under the Emperor Constantine. Constantine accepted Christianism, so his father had a position and they had a wealthy life. But after Constantine, after a few emperors, at some point Giuliano the Apostata became emperor. Giuliano the Apostata was an emperor that wanted to bring back paganism, so he started to persecute Christians once again. So Bibiana's family was entirely Christian and they were persecuted and they were killed. What they did to Bibiana was to tie her onto that column and not only flagellate her with whips, but whips with lead balls at the ends. So imagine how terrible. And if that wasn't already enough, Bibiana's body was left outside the city gate so that the dog could eat her body. But the thing is, after a few days, they found her body still intact. No one has touched her, no dog has touched her. So that was a miracle. So this, in addition to the fact that she was a very young girl and she didn't give up on her faith, this made Bibiana such a worshipped and followed saint. But now let's have a look at the frescoes on the site. So these beautiful frescoes depict the scenes of the life of Bibiana. So here, for example, we have Bibiana's. She's already dead and they are leaving her to the dogs to eat her, but the dogs wouldn't touch her. So these frescoes were made all in the 1600s. On this side we have the frescoes by Agostino Ciampelli. And on the other side we had frescoes by Pietro da Cortona. And the most amazing thing about this place is that these paintings and these statues were made in the 1620s. So that means that both Pietro da Cortona and Gian Lorenzo Bernini were still at the beginnings of their careers. So we can say this is where Baroque in Rome started.
Now I'm back outside. I just wanted to say that these kind of things that I just experienced rarely happens. Like, I came here, the church was closed, and the priest saw me and I asked him, can I go in? Oh yes, sure, actually just go in, I'll turn on all the lights for you. If you need anything, just give me a shout, I'm next door. This is something unique. The church was all for myself. I took my time, I enjoyed every single corner of it. And so when you have these kind of things, make sure you give them an offer, just a symbolic one, just to say as a thank you. So if you want to visit the church of Santa Bibiana and don't want to get the wrong times as I did, it's Monday to Friday from 5 to 7:30 p.m. and on Sunday and on bank holiday it's from 8 to 12. I realize I didn't even tell you where I am. For those who are from Rome, they recognize this. I am basically behind the Termini station. So this is a very chaotic area. You will never expect to find such jewel in. You see, it's not the most picturesque area of Rome. The entrance to Termini station is over there. Here you have the railways for the tram. The train go behind these buildings. It's a very noisy place. But anyway, there is also another jewel which is kept in this area, and it's over here. Let's go. In an even less picturesque context, we have this ancient Roman ruin. This is the so-called Temple of Minerva, Medica. This is how it looks from inside. This is the so-called Temple of Minerva Medica, which is not actually a temple, but it was a nymphaeum. A nymphaeum is a monumental fountain. And this was part of the imperial palace of the Emperor Licino Gallieno, an emperor that ruled for like 8 years in the 3rd century. So you have to imagine this place was lush. It was totally covered with colorful marble, water streaming through, green fields all around. It was such a peaceful place. Not exactly like today. So that was it for today. Me and my best friend are ready to go back home. So I hope you like this little tour of the church of Santa Bibiana and this Temple of Minerva Medica, and take note of it. And if you've done the Colosseum, the Vatican and something there already, this is something that you really should come and see. Really hidden gem. Ciao!